Okay. All right. What's new in AutoCAD? Actually, I hate to disappoint everyone, but there really isn't anything new. Autodesk releases a new version every year with improvements, quote unquote. They call this new, but it's basically just a repackaging. There are a number of things that they've tried that didn't survive the cut. Been working with AutoCAD for years. You may remember the dashboard, which was a thing, pre-palette thing on the right-hand side here. Oh, what happened to that? How many of you like fairy tales? So once upon a time, AutoCAD only released a product, a new version every 2 years. They put out a beta version that that a certain group of experienced users, teachers, whatever, were given the version to see if they could break it. And everything they found, they submitted back to Autodesk, and then they put out an alpha version. And then, they finally released it to everyone else. So this was a 2-year cycle. So now what Autodesk does is they put out a new version every year, and they just throw it out there, and it allows everyone to work with it, and the problems that they find. Problems that they find. Joining. Welcome. I just got started talking about the version releases that come out every year. So they put them out every year, and just to everybody. So it's a money thing, and then they put out patches to fix things. So my second major was programming, and I had the opportunity to write a proprietary CAD application that withered and died on the vine. Since I have programming experience, I think that they could do a lot more with each release. What Autodesk does, they have what's called subscription, that they basic for the software, and then you pay a fee every year to get the new version. So, some companies are on subscription, some companies aren't. If you're on subscription, you automatically get the new version, and it winds up being cheaper. But a lot of companies aren't on subscription and just buy the new software every 3 or 4 years. There are certain things that are only available on subscription. Once upon a time, the Express tools, which I've got open up here, was only available on a thing that they didn't call it subscription, but it wasn't readily available. It was an add-on, I guess is the best word. So there are things that are only available on subscription. So the question is subscription worth it? Well, I don't know. When I worked for Autodesk, I'd go out to offices to install a new version. And usually, there were 3 or 4 versions on the shelf that they, just hadn't bothered to load and upgrade. So I've been using AutoCAD for over 20 years, and I think it more efficiently. There's a lot that's available in AutoCAD. There's a number of different ways to do the same thing. I'll cover some of those efficiencies, tips, shortcuts, whatever you want to call them. They're also covered in the new version, some of them. Let's see. My time has been divided between teaching and consulting. Teaching exposes me to the new tools, and consulting affords me the opportunity to test them. I only adopt tools that make my job easier. So, how do we learn? Repetition, repetition, repetition. Many of you have read the same book more than once or watched the same movie. If you have kids, you've probably watched some movies with them so many times that you know the dialogue by heart. So each time you read or watch a movie, you notice more, learn more. A word about the books and the internet. There's a lot of stuff that's out there on the internet, and most of it is anybody can post something on the internet, and it doesn't mean that it's good, doesn't mean that it's accurate. You just got to be careful with looking at stuff on the internet. Books, the best books that I found that I use for teaching are the Ascent books. They're the official course guide books for AutoCAD, for Autodesk products. There's a couple other ones that I like, that I think are good for online instruction. I know that a lot of companies are moving online instruction over the last, even before the current situation. A lot of we were moving more towards teaching online because a lot of the companies were moving away from the in-person training. And a lot of companies were, I think, ditching formal training because they could get little snippets of what they needed on the internet. I've watched several videos, and unfortunately, I can't recreate some of the results, skip some of the steps, the finer points. I'm going to show a video, and a good one, and I'm going to switch back and forth between it and the application. My advice: read, view multiple sources. Every author has a slant. Some things they like, some things they don't like. So one thing I would tell you to do, avoid, and it has nothing to do with religion, but avoid any book that says Bible. The reason I like the Ascent books is not just because they were created by Autodesk, but they have little bit of information, and they give you a little exercise to do, and a little bit of information exercise to do. And then every couple of chapters, they take everything that you've been working on and they put it together. So it's predominantly exercises. A lot of books out there are predominantly, lecture, and maybe 10–15% exercises. So, and I've found that any book, anything that has the word Bible sort of falls into that category. But what do I know? All right, so we're going to look at before we get into the actual 2022 interface. We're going to look at some of the things that are listed on the FMC website for you, which really. So we're going to look at trim and extend. So where's my trim and extend? So, come on, be nice, be nice. Trim and extend. We're going to look at trim and extend in a minute. Oh, come on, what's going on here? Third time's a charm, right? Mine's gone. You can do it. There we go. All right. So where am I? Trim and extend. They're both in the same place. the new thing with trim is that you can just draw through. In the old version, you had to actually pick. And in the older version, if you had pieces left that didn't cross any cutting line, you had to go in and individually pick them, end the command to get back into the trim or delete and individually pick them. You're still in a remove sort of command now. If you don't like this, you can always come in down here and where it says what mode, click on mode, and you can go back to standard. That real quick. See, go into trim and go to mode and go to standard. Now you're selecting cutting planes and you're selecting what you're going to remove. And with the old version, you hit enter and you made everything a cutting plane. So I'll leave that there. And the same thing works, same idea works with extend. So everything is an extend to line, which if you wanted to extend these all the way out, could be a pain. Okay, and another little thing that you may not know, if you're in like I am in now, up in extend, if you hold down the shift key, it becomes the opposite, and now it's a trim. And if I let off the shift key, we're right back to extend again. And it works the same, with if I was in trim. So break a point in any big thing. Let's see, Rev Cloud. We'll look at that later. Let's see, let's go to go to the bank. Why am I? Oh, I know. Bank. All right. There's a couple of new things in the measure commands. They've added this quick measure so that when you click on that and you move into an area, it gives you the distances between, it recognizes objects, it gives you the distances in between. So that's new. That's pretty sweet. If you click in it in an area, closed area, then you're going to get the area, the volume of that area. And if you hold down the shift key, you can add to that. Prior to this, you had to come in here and do the area command. You got one of the other things that's listed there is the XREF. So if you've got external references in it that you're using, and you can go and you can edit them. I'm using grips. If you're not familiar with grips, grips is one of my favorite tools. And I should have the background for this. I don't. Let me go to Sketch. Okay, so you've been working on a external reference and you save it. And whoever is the supervisor, whoever is working on the overall plan, either, opens it up, come on, and, gets this notification down here, and the compare the changes is on by default. If you click on the reload, you get into this window and it shows what has been changed. So what was in the red, what is in the green. So it just lets you compare the two, and you can work between these. Let's say okay, and you can see that it updated it, moved this stuff out a bit. It's wondering why it's not bright. It's because it's an XREF, so it's held down a little bit. You can change the amount that this shows. What else? You've also got a drawing history. So if you've made in the past, you saved the file, you had one backup file. Now you save the file, you have multiple files that just are listed automatically. And you can click on the compare, and you can see, again, turn on, turn off various things, and see what changes have been made, if any. And you also have a drawing compare. And does a similar thing. You can pick other drawings. So what was this? This was this. Page. Bracket. I forget what the heck it was called. Okay, great. We'll have to come back to this. Let's get out of this. And the other thing, improvement, if you want to call it, is the blocks palette, which I'm still trying to get used to. Come on. So when you click on one of these, it opens up the palette, and you've got what's in the current drawing. You've got recent blocks that you've used. And I don't know how far back this goes. You can set favorites. You can go to the library and open up files. Just if you, one of my favorite tools is Design Center for dragging and dropping blocks in. So you can come into the library and find a drawing. Basically do the same thing from here. Okay. Maybe not. You can find any drawing and open it up. The thing I don't like about it is with the old version, the old way of bringing in blocks. Oops, didn't do that. The old way of bringing in blocks is you brought in the blocks, but with this, you're bringing in the everything. You're bringing in the outline or the title block or whatever else is there. I don't know why this is taking so long. But one of the sweet things, and you could do this in older versions, was rotation. So you could turn on rotation so that when you place it down, you could rotate it. But this is new and this is pretty sweet. So grab it and do here. Come on. Come on. Love it when it works. There we go. Lay here. I don't know why. Should be right on my cursor so that I can place it down and rotate it. And this is on here. All right. Okay. Let me go. Something else. I don't know if you saw a little message I got. I don't know if you get this, but it said that I'm running out of resources. One of the fringe benefits, and I'd say that tongue in cheek, of AutoCAD is that they take the RAM that they use when you close out some stuff. It doesn't give it up. I'm just going to close out some of this stuff. Maybe it'll help. Oh. Okay. Okay. Close that. Close that. Okay. All right, let's try something else. Let's go to, what was that? All right. Let's look at this, start this video. This might be, I might be able to clean this up a little bit. This is one of the better ones that I found. CAD microsystem isn't bad, so I may just start on this.
So one of the first things you're likely to see when you launch your AutoCAD 2022 is going to be the Start tab. And the Start tab has been here for a while, but the Start tab has been sort of streamlined. It's been modernized.
Let me pull this up. One of the things you can do that you might not be aware of is you can go into this little wheel down here and set the speed. I think a lot of these videos, the way they're recorded, the speed at which they're recorded just takes a lot of more time. So you speed it up. You watch some of these.
The largest sort of feature, if you want to call it that, in the Start tab is going to be the recent area. The recent area is going to be home to documents you recently opened. And this kind of supports a concept referred to as continue where you left off at Autodesk. You work on a drawing. Some of these drawings are sample drawings, but a lot of these drawings are drawings that I've worked on. Well, 2 of these drawings are drawings I've worked on. I've just recently installed this. And I can just get back to work with these things. If I click on Residential CAD, it will relaunch this. So this is kind of the largest feature. You're getting back to work, continue where you left off. And that's based on the left side of the Start tab is this recent category. The recent category is currently the active category that would allow me to see recent documents. Your recent documents can display themselves as we see here with thumbnails, or I can change my recent documents to display as details, if you will. Either in the detail mode or in the thumbnail mode, you'll see a little browse menu. I'll kind of hover over here. The browse menu, this 3-dot menu. If I click on this, it's going to give me 2 options. One option is to just open this drawing and edit it. Or if I don't need to do any editing and maybe somebody else is in the process of editing this drawing, I can open it read-only. Also, you might notice when I hover over a thumbnail, you'll see a little pin icon sort of appears. If I sort of highlight it right here, here's the pin icon. That pin icon allows me to pin my recent document to the recent documents area. If I go over here to details, same thing. If I hover over one of the detail, you'll see a little pinned column. I can hover and pin this. A lot of the projects that we work on, they're continuous. They might be ongoing for days, weeks, months. So the ability to pin your document to your recent area of your Start tab can be pretty convenient. You also have the ability to open on the left side underneath the heading Autodesk AutoCAD 2022. You'll see the open button, and if I just push this, it will bring up my select file dialog box, or we have a drop down arrow. If I click the drop down arrow, it opens up and it shows me some options. I can open files, open a sheet set, or I can explore some sample drawings, some of which are actually shown here already. Below that is the new button. If I click on new, it'll launch, it'll open up a brand new drawing using the default template, or I can use the drop down arrow and I can, again, use the default template, browse additional templates, or I can get more templates online to sort of make my startup a little bit quicker. I can also create a sheet set, and I always find that hard to say. So we could.
All right. I don't know why it's blurry. I guess it's something with the feed and the amount of RAM I have used up. And we'll go. I can look at this. So if we go to recent, it's going to show all the drawings that are there. Again, you can look at it in different ways. This isn't new. You've been able to do this with other versions, in the past. I mean, this is 2021, and you had just had it arranged a different way. I mean, it's like hemlines and seasonal things. I mean, they've got to change in order for them to sell a new product. So they're changing the way it looks, but it's really not anything new. Let me just close some more. Uh, 19 is saying I had 2019 open here. It's, looks the same. 2021, they just changed it a little bit. 2022. What is that? So where am I? You can pin any of this stuff. It just keeps it from being pushed out of the buffer. I mean, there's I don't know how many, 8, I think, in the buffer. The oldest one gets pushed out unless you've got it pinned. you can click on open and open an existing file. You click on new and you get on a new file. No, I don't want to save that. No. Oh, doesn't like. Okay. This is this. And, all right. Go back and view some more of this. Why this is.
You can create a sheet set using that new area there.
They're talking about sheet sets, and if you look at the Autodesk programs, AutoCAD is like the base of the pyramid, and then on top of that you got a program called AutoCAD Architecture, which is 3D. You're actually working with walls, windows, and doors. It has intelligence. And then on top of that, you may have heard of Revit. Revit is the real BIM package. Sheet sets, they bring stuff across various programs. Sheet sets are in AutoCAD Architecture, and it's a way of grouping layouts together, and I don't think it's the most advantageous. So
I'm going to left click away from that. Heading down the line here, we have something called Autodesk Docs. You have the ability to open up your Autodesk Docs if you've connected to Autodesk Docs, which is
that's another one of those things that's subscription.
Sort of a separate subscription feature. I could open up and see drawings that I may have shared with somebody through Autodesk Docs, which is Autodesk Cloud environment for drawings and data. So I could see drawings that I have shared or drawings that I have shared or had.
Okay. A little problem with my feed here now. Damn. Okay. Wonderful. All right. Well, something I just this is unusual. Let's see. Yes, Master, what I'm going to try and do is, turn this off through the Taskmaster so I can get back, open it up again. So with Autodesk Docs, you can go out and share stuff. No, I don't want to save it. You got the and task. Haha. Thank you. And task. Okay. Open this up again. See if that helps. Okay. So you've got doesn't help that's for sure. Yeah.
Shared with me. Below Autodesk Docs is the learning area. If I click on learning, it kind of changes the landscape here where I can see, you know, the top row, I can see a bunch of AutoCAD tips. You know, if you're someone who likes to sort of grow your knowledge of AutoCAD while you're using it, you can come to the tips area and learn a few new things. Below that, the next row would be just videos in general, and you can kind of see there's a little bit of a scroll arrow that would allow you to scroll and see additional videos. So the initial one is a new features overview, which we're in the middle of right now. Tour the interface and so on.
This features overview is a little bit different. Now, again, you should probably watch it to get a different perspective.
Videos will help you, get up and running. Also presented are online resources for training for people who offer online training. I don't know how we can get ourselves listed there. We probably should. But there are just varied resources for learning information and getting trained up. Let me go back to that recent area. Below we have what's new. You can learn what's new in AutoCAD. Access help. Go to the community forum. The forum is a great place if you're having issues with your AutoCAD. You can sort of share experiences you're having. I'm seeing this in my AutoCAD. What is happening? And a lot of times people like myself will try to write answers, try to help you figure out what's going on with your AutoCAD. You can reach out for customer support. You can access your AutoCAD mobile app if you're someone who is subscribed to that. I think for a while there it was available for free in the initial part of the pandemic phases. It may still be available. It's worth checking out. These are kind of the same thing. AutoCAD mobile app and the web app are somewhat. The web app would be I would be viewing this AutoCAD online version through my computer. The mobile app I could see AutoCAD on my phone, on my tablet, or what have you. Moving to the right side of the Start tab, we have the announcements area where you can see AutoCAD related announcements that you might say, hey, you're invited to join the research community. The folks at Autodesk love to have people join their research community to help make AutoCAD a product that everyone wants to use. Everyone who's in the industries that we're in gets some feedback from them. And then other things, have you tried searching the current layer and stuff? They're kind of tips and announcements. So these are worth.
Just a little comment here. Autodesk dominates the worldwide market. They used to have an 80% share. That's falling off because a lot of people don't think that they respond, to the customer. And there is other similar software out there that is less expensive.
Check it out. If you have a few minutes when you start your session, sort of take a look at these announcements. Your announcements palette, if you want to call it that, or dashboard, can minimize. And when you initially launch AutoCAD, it may be minimized, but I'll go ahead and maximize it. And then I want to just sort of point out one final thing is the send feedback button. The earlier versions of AutoCAD, the Start tabs had a send feedback button, and I found it by accident. I was just kind of goofing around on the Start tab, and I saw send feedback, and I pushed the button, and it basically allows you to send an email to it's either one or a very small list of people at Autodesk where you might have an idea about the software. I offered an idea.
Let's get back, see if AutoCAD is open yet. No. So it's still trying to load, looks like. Let's get back here and look at some more of this.
About the trim and extend commands, which I wouldn't say it was, they use the idea, but trim and extend, if you've been using AutoCAD for 2021, trim and extend have changed. So maybe my suggestion, it wasn't exactly what they did, but maybe it helped.
Oh, you go there.
So do send feedback, make it constructive. Don't say, hey, make it better. Just say, you know, hey, I wish you could change the command prompt for this, or can you add that? And all our feedback, our positive feedback, goes to help just make this a better platform for all of us to use. So that's your Start tab, and hopefully you'll be able to take advantage of that. Moving on from the Start tab, I'm going to switch into a drawing that I opened up earlier. Okay. So in this drawing, the next thing we'll talk about is one of the new features called Share Link. So Share Link is accessible on the Quick Access toolbar or the Collaborate tab. I think Collaborate is a theme that AutoCAD has been supporting for a while, and it's just it's just continued to be supported. And if you think about a lot of the folks, myself included, are working from home, the ability to sort of collaborate online is beneficial. So again, share link. If I want to share a link to this drawing, I can either click share on the Quick Access toolbar, or I'll click share on the Collaborate tab on the share panel. Either way, it's going to give me the same result. I'll click share, and it's going to bring up a dialog box. It takes a second. You can see the little buffering wheel. Share a link to this drawing. I have two options. One is I can share a view only if I want to share this with somebody who I don't want them to edit this drawing. Maybe it's a client and I'm showing them, hey, here's where we are with your floor plan so far. I could give them a view only version of it. Or if I would like my client or my consultant or my collaborator or whatever to be able to edit and save a copy, I could choose this option here. And then I would click the link here that would take me to the link where it's going to be shared, or I can copy that link and then paste it into maybe an email and send it off to my client. For here, let me just do, I'll click on the little link and it will take me to, this is kind of the start page. What you saw, the splash screen there, is the start page for AutoCAD Web and Mobile.
Which is subscription.
So if I shared a link to somebody, they would go into AutoCAD Web and Mobile and they would be able to see this, this file, this drawing.
So you can do a lot that you can in CAD.
Here it comes.
Desktop.
All right, so obviously because the AutoCAD Web and Mobile does not have my plot style table, we're now viewing the drawing sort of without the monochrome plot style table, but it's just the same drawing. And it kind of gives me a note about fonts are displayed as simplex. If you're going to be using AutoCAD Web and Mobile, as you're typing, the fonts, they look like simplex, but your font might be Arial or what have you. So if I kind of close out of this little dialog box, because I chose the edit and save as, this little button right here, save as, is active. So the recipient of this shared link will be able to make changes, save it to their desktop or save it to what have you. So that's your share link, which is kind of a nice way to share drawing information with other collaborators, other parties. Moving on, our next new feature is something called traces or trace. And
while I'm here, I mean, you got you can go into properties, you can open up layers, you can open up blocks, XREFs. You've got a draw tab down here, you got an annotate tab, you got a modify tab. So a lot of things that you can do in AutoCAD, you can do in the web mobile app.
Traces is probably most frequently going to be used in the AutoCAD mobile app or web app. If I click on traces, traces says, okay, well, there currently are no traces in this drawing. And what traces is it kind of harkens back to when I was using AutoCAD, or even just using drafting tables with engineers. An engineer would lay tracing paper over a drawing I worked on and put markups on the tracing paper. So let's say I want to create a new trace. Now I shared this drawing with somebody and they're going to make a comment on the drawing. So we'll go new trace, and I'll give this trace a name, right? I'll click on trace 1 and just say this is, I'll rename it Let's say closet suggestion. Right, there we go. And so this is going to be the name of the trace. And then I'll go to my annotate tab down where my tools are, down below the trace information. I'll go annotate. And let's click the Rev Cloud. I'll create a Rev Cloud around the walk-in closet in the master bedroom. Suggestion.
I don't know if I'll be able to see this.
Right, there we go. And so this is going to be the name of the
I
trace.
just moved it back just for a
And
second.
then I'll go to
I want to show you something I missed.
my annotate tab down where my tools are, down below the trace information. I'll go annotate. And let's click the Rev Cloud. I'll create a Rev Cloud.
Oh, the reason I stopped this is when he puts, I may go a little further, not yet. There we
around the
go.
walk-in.
And he puts the Rev Cloud down. It's pretty big. The arcs of it are pretty big. So before you place it, you can come in here and change the arc length. The arc, you know,
Closet in the master bedroom,
that's pretty big.
like so. And then I'll add some text. And you'll see what I'm talking about with the fonts. If I go multi-line text, okay, this is a huge piece of text. Let me stop this right here. I'm going to do this from model space because the text that I have currently as my current text style is model space based. So I'll go to the model tab here. There we go. All right, zooming back in, I'll go to my revision cloud. All right, so here's my revision cloud around the closet, and then I'll create some multi-line text. And I'll just say, you know, my wife would like this comment.
And you can make the size of the text bigger here.
Walk-in closet, something like that. And I'll just click check. So there's the information. I'm sort of making a suggestion to a team member. Now I'll do the save as. I'll go save as, and I'll just save it to my AutoCAD Web and Mobile, and I'll just call this closet suggestion, or say size, just to give it a unique name. It's closet size suggestion. I'll save that. Okay, so that was my trace. That was the command trace. And then what I'll do is I'm going to go back to my desktop version of AutoCAD. All right, so I'll get rid of this dialog box. All right, now I want to see, you know, what my collaborator, what my counterpart said about that, you know, the link I shared. I'm going up to my quick access toolbar, and I'll click open from Web and Mobile. And here's closet size suggestion. I'll click on this and click open. All right, so here's this drawing, and you can kind of see there's the little markup there. Now on the Collaborate tab of the ribbon on the desktop version, there's a Traces panel. If I click on Traces, right, that opens up a Traces palette, and it will tell me, you know, there's my image. I'm the guy who made this, but if someone else made this, I might see their avatar or whatever. I can click on Closet Suggestion, and it kind of highlights it. It sort of puts me in the mode to see it. You can kind of see almost like you're seeing it through a tracing paper. The tracing paper is now on top of the drawing. You have a little toolbar. Again, the toolbar allows you to see who the avatar is. It's very small, but that's me. Then I have the ability to sort of toggle the draw order. If I click on front or back, now the trace is behind the drawing. Now the trace is in front. And if I make my changes, I can, when I'm done, just hit the little check mark and say, okay, I'm done making those changes. So this is kind of another way to collaborate or to communicate with other AutoCAD users, your trace and trace palette.
Typically, this would be a red line drawn right on top of the drawing. The drawing would be shared back and forth, and this would just be right on top of the drawing. So the trace an advantage. Web and mobile, yeah, it could be, yes.
Okay. This is one of my favorites. This is a command I'm pretty fond of. I'm going to open up a different drawing for this. This is a drawing I think was set up exactly or expressly for this new command. This is a sample drawing. I'm going to open it read-only. If you've had AutoCAD for a while, you've seen this drawing for a while. This is a command called count, and the count command is accessible on the View tab of.
And he'll say in here there's been ways to do count. Count is sort of like a data extraction. So this is an improvement. So it's
the
pretty
ribbon.
sweet.
It's palette based, and so on the palettes panel, here's the count button. I'm going to click count, and this drawing has not been saved. Of course you saw it's read only, but I'll click count, and it gives you a palette, and the count palette shows you all the blocks that are in the drawing. These are all sort of abbreviated names like chair, 7. Computer's not abbreviated, but it shows me all the blocks in this drawing. And if I right click over any one of the blocks, let's say I right click over computer, I'll right click. I can review count details, right? So it shows me where these computers are. It's up in a little toolbar similar to the traces toolbar. It shows me how many there are. I can get a little bit of information, like there's 54 computers. And if I use these little arrows, left or right arrows, they should sort of zoom me in so I can see where they are. And if I kind of just keep hitting next, it'll sort of show me. But you saw them highlighted when we were zoomed out. The next little icon allows me to paste or insert a count field. Now this count field, I'll just show it to you. I'll go ahead and click count field. Right, we saw that there were 54 computers, and it's probably hard to see my field mask seems very dark, but there's 54 computers. This is dynamic, so if I were to add or remove any computers, that count field would update. Let me just do a left click, right click, copy selection, and I'll make a few copies. And we have a few computers laying around the office now, and again I'll go back to that that field. If I use my regen RE, it should update and show me now there's 58 computers. This is kind of a cool tool in my opinion. I've used the command called bkup for years. And I'm going to go back to the list, and so that's kind of exciting for me to see that. You'll see a couple chevrons here, a little triangles of enlightenment. If you're someone who uses AutoCAD architecture, you may have heard the term triangles of enlightenment. If I click on this triangle, it kind of tells me there's a count error, and then if I click on this overlapping object, it's just telling me there's an object overlapping. I'll click on this. Right? It zooms me into where AutoCAD has perceived there's 2 doors that are superimposed over one another. So if I click on this door, according to my readout, there's 37 doors. But if I left click or top click, if you've taken any of the AutoCAD certification training, I'll top click that door, and I'll just pull it out of the way, and then I'll just delete it. Let's say I don't need that. And now there's 30, there was 38, there's 37 now. That may have changed the count. But now I've got a more accurate count. It lets me know where I have duplicated objects, which I had to use a separate command back when I was using the bcount command. This block called rectang also has the little triangle of enlightenment next to it. I'll click on this, and it's telling me there's an exploded block. Right? I don't even know how they know this. This is amazing to me. But if I click on exploded block, so the line work that we see here was a rectangular block that would be a column. You can kind of see it's on the furring layer. And if I need that to be a block, I can delete the exploded line work and just reinsert the block. So it gives you some really accurate data. Let me go back to the list. Finally, at the top of the palette, there's a little button here. If I can get it to give me the tooltip, create a table containing these selected objects from the count. So if I click on this, I'll click the little table icon. It's going to allow me to check which blocks I want to see in a table. Let's say I want to see how many keyboards I have, how many computers I have, maybe how many chairs. Where'd the chair go? Chair. Right there, chair. I'll go chair. And let's say that's all I'm interested in. I'm more of a furniture equipment person. I'll go ahead and click insert. And I'll zoom out some so we can put this somewhere neat. Let's say right here. This is kind of neat. Left click. And again, it gives me sort of a dynamic table that shows me how many keyboards, how many blocks in general I have of a certain type. And then adding or removing these blocks will update this table because it is dynamic. So that is one of my favorite things ever is the count command. I'll do one more right click. There's a number of little options here on the right click menu. Let's go back to computer. Right click, click layer, and it kind of tells you what layer it's on. It's on the CPU layer. Right click, how many are in a mirrored state, what is the scale of the majority of these things. The CPU is a scale of 1. So it's just, it kind of allows you to quickly get information back from your drawing. And that's your count, the count command on the palettes panel of the view tab. I know I've kind of gone a little long on this one command, but let me show you one more thing. I'm going to go to the residential CAD drawing, residential CAD, right? I change drawing, the count instantly changes. Like I don't have to ask AutoCAD to do that. It just says, hey, you're in a new drawing. Guess what? You get different blocks, and it kind of shows me, you know, similar information. Here are the blocks in this drawing, and if there are issues with the blocks in this drawing, it'll show those issues to us pretty quickly. So that's your count command. One of my all-time favorites. Another handy feature is floating window. So
let's see if the my AutoCAD is up yet. Yeah, so no, I don't want to recover. If your system ever crashes, you're going to get this recovery thing over here, and you can go back and go and pick the files that you had open, or you can close this out. Let me do this. Close this out. Okay, so a couple of things. We looked at the recent. If we go down to learning, you've got tips up top here, and you can scroll through these. There's a couple of them that I think are interesting. You can set command aliases, and you can trim down what you have up here. Let me just open up a blank drawing. This is how it opens up by default. It's got the grid on. The command line is floating. So you type the command in here, or select the command. It displays it, you know, above the command line here. You can grab this gnarly end and you can bring it down, and you can dock it at the bottom, or you can dock it anywhere you like. There's, you know, you've got all these tabs across the top. There's stuff up here that I don't use, that I don't want to have to sort through to get where I'm going. So you can turn some of this stuff off. And that's what the tip was talking about. You can turn it off. You can either right click in a blank space, and you've got tabs and panels, or if you right click on a panel name, I mean, these are tabs, and inside each tab is are what are called panels. So you got the home tab, and you got panels, you got insert tab, you got different panels. So you can turn these on and off. So there's some that I turn off. I mean, I always turn off parametrics. It's you know, it's not necessary in AutoCAD. It's no advantage in AutoCAD. I wish it would stay open all the time. I turn off featured apps. I usually turn off Express tools also. I'm going to leave that on for the moment. Collaborate, we're using that now. If I wasn't using it, I turn it off, and then it's off. Add-ins like third-party stuff. Tabs, output that's printing. I don't see that's needed, and it just reduces the amount of information you see here. You can also do it with the panels. You can turn off panels if you don't want to see them. This view, which is over here, this allows you to create 2D views from a 3D object, so I don't need that. Is there anything else I usually turn off? Panels, clipboard. You know, clipboard, you're right clicking and you can copy to the clipboard. So, you know, I don't see, this is just taking up space. I usually turn that off. Panels, the rest of this, you know, I leave on. And you can turn on and off with what's down here. If you go over to this far right side, says customize, you can click on that and you can turn some of the stuff on and off, some of which I've already turned off. You've got infer constraints, which goes with parametrics. I turn that off. You got dynamic input, which is heads up display. I think isometric lines are on by default. I leave grid on. I turn snap mode off. Snap mode can be set to the increments of the grid. I turn it off, but I leave grid on because I do a lot of consulting work. So, I want to be able to turn the grid off. And one of the things that I turn on by default, which is not on, is units. So that it shows me right down here what the units are. And instead of, if you get a decimal drawing and you need to change the feet, instead of going up here and going to what drawing utilities or typing in units and going to units and being able to change it here, I can just click on this and change it to architectural. Another thing that I don't see any advantage to is this navigation bar. So I click the little X and turn that off. If you ever wanted to turn it back on, if you go to the view tab, you can turn it back on here. The view cube is you're sort of stuck with, it's saved all the time, but you can turn it off. You really don't need that for 3D. Mouse command aliases down here. Okay, nothing wrong here. Options. Options display. So if you go into the options, there may be sometimes the tooltips, get in the way, and I don't want to see them all the time. So you can turn, show tooltips. You can turn it off. You can set the increment for when they show, and you can set a couple of other things here. Get out of that, and Express tools. The one thing inside the Express tools, which they talk about in the tips, is the command aliases. So if you go into Express tools and come over to tools and click on command aliases, if you're a keyboard shortcut person, you can change the designation of things. One of the things that one of the keyboard shortcuts, I only use a few. One of the keyboard shortcuts I use is distance. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I is distance. And I changed this so it's D, but D is used for, I do have it for distance. E is by default used for something else, but I reset E for distance. So you can come in and add things in here, add shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts or whatever, if you're a keyboard shortcut. Do one. If you're working with dual monitors, you can pull a tab off and you can move it to another monitor. So you've got floating windows. If you want to put it back, you can just move it back over the tab and it places it back. Okay. I run a little bit over myself. I apologize for the computer's errors, problems. What I'm going to do, how can I do this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my email address here. So I've got a, I don't know, I guess outline is the best thing I can call it for things that I wanted to cover today, and links to the video that I was showing. plus a couple additional links to videos. I mean, I've got a link to a trace video that explains a little bit better. If you don't use annotated text and dimensions, they automatically, you can set them so they automatically adjust inside your viewports. If you don't use them, you should. And I've got a couple of videos in this link that explain that. It's sort of a convoluted process. If you don't have any experience with AutoCAD or a little bit of experience, you might want to consider taking the first level course. I mean, there's a couple of courses that FMC offers, or other companies offer. Now, I'm not promoting FMC for any particular reason. I just know that they use the Ascent books, which again, I think are the best. And there's a couple of online sources that you could check out. Lynda.com on LinkedIn has training. They're the best that I've come across. There's a couple of others that might not be bad, but Lynda.com is pretty good. And a little, I don't know what to call this. If you have a library card, if you don't, I would suggest you go to your library and get one. If you have a library card, you can access the training on lynda.com for free. I mean, it's not expensive to begin with, but you know, you can get access to it for free through libraries. So that you might want to check out. So you know, send me your email and I'll send you this outline. If you have any further questions, you know, shoot me an email and I'll try and address them. If not, if you don't have anything else, then you know, I apologize for the problems and thank you for, you know, visiting FMC. I'm going to sign off now unless anybody's got any questions they want to pose at the moment. Thank you for your time and happy CADing.